welcome to episode 6, part 3 of Family Picks. I decided to do a part 3 because there is a lot of family picks in the 60th anniversary recipe book, and there's some in memory of my great grandmother, which was her mother, and then there's one in here that my great grandmother's sister put in here. And these are kind of cool recipes. They're also canning recipes. There used to be someone now my grandmother, my great grandmother could have done this too. Maybe it was her, but I remember someone in our family used to can pickles or like make their own. I know my dad a while back, he still has a garden, but when he used to can salsa and I think tomato juice, something else with tomatoes. I'm probably not getting that correct. But I remember when he used to do that in the garage and stuff. But there was somebody in the family. Now, it could have been my dad too. I can't remember everything, I guess. But somebody else used to do pickles. Maybe it was my dad. Maybe it was great grandmother. Because it says that this recipe for pickles, it's a flavor of pickles that you can, that she picked out, my great grandmother. So I don't know. Maybe she did can pickles or whatever you call it when you do pickles. I think it's called the same thing, canning pickles. So, this is part 3 and this is going to be her recipe. She picked out 2. I don't know if it's just things that my great grandmother made or liked, but I don't even know if they're her recipes, but they're just in here. Maybe she picked them out and they were from her family. I don't know. But the first one she picked out for her name to be on in this cookbook was bread and butter pickles. Now, does anyone else can stuff? Be exciting to know who does. Canning stuff just looks it is a lot of work, but it looks so much fun to me. Making your own things and knowing that they're garden fresh. So, we're going to do this recipe and then we're going to do the one that her sister picked out, my great grandmother's sister. So, that's what this episode is about today. So, we're going to start off with this one. Bread and butter pickles. You need 5 medium cucumbers, 3 medium onions, a fourth a cup of canning salt, 1 cup of vinegar, 1 cup of water, half a teaspoon of celery seed, half a teaspoon of mustard seed, 3/4 cup of sugar, half a teaspoon of ginger, and half a teaspoon of turmeric. I think that's how you say that, turmeric. Anyway, you know what I mean. So then you just wash the cucumbers and cut in slices, peel and slice onions. Combine onions and cucumbers and the salt. Let stand 2 hours and then drain. You heat the vinegar, water, celery seed, mustard seed, sugar, vinegar, ginger, and turmeric to boiling. Boil slowly until tender. Pack while hot in jars. It makes 4 to 5 pints. So that's the recipe for the bread and butter pickles. And I don't know, I'm not sure if she made this or not. She probably did. She probably did can some stuff. I think she had a garden too, and she liked to do these things too. So, I like pickles, but I don't know if I like these kind of pickles. I do not like bread and butter flavored pickles or like the sweet pickles because they just don't taste right to me. But I do love dill pickles. Those are my favorite, the sour ones. So I didn't even know you used onions for pickles. I don't really know much about canning stuff. I just remember watching my dad a couple times doing the salsa and stuff, but that was about it. So that's kind of neat to read on if she did make this and can it. She lived on a farm, so maybe she did. I will go through it one more time, and then I would like to share an inspiring quote that was written on the bottom of this page. I don't know where they found it, but I thought, hey, we're just going to read it on here for some inspiration. So, here's the list again, the ingredient list. 5 medium cucumbers, 3 medium onions, a fourth a cup of canning salt, 1 cup of vinegar, 1 cup of water, one, excuse me, not one, half a teaspoon of celery seed, half a teaspoon of mustard seed, 3/4 cup of sugar, half a teaspoon of ginger, and a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. Wash cucumbers and cut in slices. Peel and slice onions. Combine onions and cucumbers and the salt. Let stand 2 hours, then drain. Heat the vinegar, water, celery seed, mustard seed, sugar, vinegar, ginger, and turmeric to boiling. Boil slowly until tender. Pack while hot in jars. It makes 4 to 5 pints. So there's that one. And I would like to hear your guys' stories if you can things or have a garden and make your own things like that and put them in jars. I would like to hear your guys' stories or your recipes on how you make your stuff. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. So the quote that I was going to read is down below. And this is kind of just inspirational, maybe to help your day go better or even your week or your weekend. It goes like this. What you see is evidence of what you believe. Believe it and you'll see it. It's by Dr. Wayne W. Dyer. I think that's how you say his last name. So that is very inspirational. I think that's going to help me through my week. I don't know where they found that quote, but that is super sweet. So we are going to, now we're going to start on another pickle recipe, but this is the one that my great grandmother's sister picked out. So I don't know if she made it or it was just in the family or what, but it's in memory of her. And so they put it in this book, which is very, very sweet. But it's a sweet dill pickle. So now it's sweet pickles. I would like to find the recipe for the dill pickles. Oh, well, I don't even can anyway, but that's my favorite. So you're going to get some dill, some cucumbers, 3 cups of sugar, 3 cups of vinegar, 3 cups of water, a 1/3 cup of coarse salt, and a 1/3 teaspoon of powdered alum. Yeah, so put dill in bottom of sterilized pint jars. Slice the cucumbers. Boil sugar, vinegar, water, coarse salt, and alum together. Pour over pickles and seal while hot. Make 6 pints. So that one seems really easy too. I hope I'm pronouncing everything right. I do not know. I'm trying my best. It's probably a really old recipe if it came from them. So these old terms or these old names they had for ingredients was like, what is that? But it's just probably an old-fashioned way of saying it. I don't know. So that's the sweet dill pickles. What's your favorite pickle? So again, here is the sweet dill pickle recipe. Dill, cucumbers, 3 cups of sugar, 3 cups of vinegar, 3 cups of water, a 1/3 cup of coarse salt, a 1/3 teaspoon of powdered alum. Now, I just Googled this to see what that was because I've never heard of it. Like, what is powdered alum? And I Googled it. I know, Google might not be true, but I Googled it just like everybody does when they're curious about something. And I don't know. It's fascinating. I didn't even know that you could use this. So I put, what is powdered alum in Google search bar? And it says it's a crystallized potassium aluminum. It's also an ingredient in baking powder, responsible for the faintly metallic taste. And then there's another question down here. Now, I don't know if this is all true. Someone that knows can enlighten me, but I'm just kind of reading what I'm finding on Google. And I don't even know what to believe. I'm just reading. It says that, is aluminum powder safe? It says aluminum sulfate is fairly non-toxic with acute and chronic oral both greater than 5,000 mg/kg 5. However, aluminum can still cause irritation, burns, and respiratory issues if inhaled. It may cause headaches, nausea, and respiratory irritations. Anyway, so I don't know what the truth is, but I thought, well, I'm gonna look it up. Is that like a old term for something, or like an old term for an ingredient that we know? And I just looked it up, and I'm like, wow. So it must not be toxic then if they're putting it in pickles. It does say you can buy it in the aisle of a grocery store, so I don't know. Kind of weird. I'm sure everybody has their own opinions on it. But I wonder if you can use something else to get the crispiness. This is an old recipe, probably. But if you can buy it, maybe you can't buy it anymore. I don't know anything about this. That's why I looked it up to just kind of see what it said. And like I said, I'm not a professional on the topic or nothing. I'm just reading what Google brought up. But I'm just like, kind of curious, you know? So if you have your opinion on that, that's fine. You can give me your opinion, but don't get mad at me. I'm just looking stuff up because I'm curious. I have no idea if it's toxic or not. So, anyway, there was some information that might not be true, so don't come after me, but kind of interesting to look up. So, let's move on to the last recipe that my great grandmother put in this book, and it is called an impossible pie. Impossible pie, huh? You know, it kind of reminds me of like, but it's not a meat pie. It looks like it'd be like a meat pie, but it isn't. It doesn't have that in the ingredients. It's like just a coconut, has coconut in it. Anyway, so this is called an impossible pie. And you use, here's the ingredient list: 4 eggs, beat with mixer, half a stick of oleo melted, 1 3/4 or 1 1/2 cup of sugar, half a cup of flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, a fourth teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 4 ounces of coconut. So it sounds kind of good. This is probably an old recipe again. If it came from her, I don't know. Even if it is hers, or if she came up with it on her own, or if she just found it and wrote it down like you guys are writing these down. I have no idea. There's no copyrights or anything on these. Recipes are recipes, right? So I'm not claiming that it's hers or anything because I have no idea. So you beat the eggs, add vanilla, dry ingredients, and milk. Beat until well blended. Stir in coconut. Pour into an ungreased pie pan and sprinkle with nutmeg. Bake at 350 for 35 to 40 minutes. So that sounds kind of good. Sounds really good, actually. So that was another recipe my great grandmother put in this book. Again, it's an impossible pie. 4 eggs, beat with mixer, half a stick of oleo melted, 1 3/4 or 1 1/2 cup of sugar. Now wait, oleo, is that like a butter or something? I don't know. Someone who knows, please tell me. Oleo. Should I Google oleo too? Let's do it. Let's see what Google says about oleo. Okay, so hey, I Googled it and I think I was right. It's like a substitute for butter. It's like a margarine. A margarine is a spread used for flavoring, baking, and cooking. It is most often used as a substitute for butter. And that's what it says oleo is. Yeah. So I was kind of right. So it's kind of like a butter or a fat thing to put in. Like margarine is more fatty, isn't it? Anyway, I looked it up and I was right. I thought, well, it has to be like a butter or something. So I was right. Anyway, so 1 3/4 or 1 1/2 cup of sugar, half a cup of flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 4 ounce coconut. 4 ounces of coconut. Beat eggs, add vanilla, then the dry ingredients and milk. Beat until well blended, stir in coconut. Pour into an ungreased pie pan and sprinkle with nutmeg. Bake at 350 for 35 to 40 minutes. So that is that recipe. I know I'm like Googling everything today. I know I'm so strange, right? I know other people do it. Some of the things you get, though, are not true. You can't always believe the internet. But I just had this feeling that Olio was better, and I was kind of right, you know? So I don't know. So we're just having fun on this and kind of looking up some old stuff, old names for things, I guess. I wonder if you can buy Olio if it's just a margarine, regular margarine. I have no idea. So that's that recipe. And I think that's all the recipes that's in this episode anyway. Now, the next episode, I'm going to do some turkey recipes. Does anybody like turkey meat? Sometimes I substitute it for hamburger. I have not tried it in taco. Well, today has been quite the episode. We have learned what two things are. Um, because you just get curious when you read through a recipe and you're like, what is that? I've never heard of that ingredient, you know? And you're just like, and you get curious and you're like, I want an answer right now because then it drives you nuts until you find the right answer. You ever been there with anything? I sure have. My goodness. So take things out of that as you will about that I don't know. I don't know. That is so strange. Now you think they couldn't sell that in the grocery store if it was poison to you. Really? Like that don't make any sense to me. I don't know. My head is still spinning with that. Like, what do you do with that information? Like, do you believe it? Does anybody know any more about it? You can email me and tell me. And oh, I don't know. I just kind of strange to me. Something about it can't be true. That's what I'm thinking through all this, but I have no idea. I don't know. So, anyway, I just can't believe it. But anyway, I was right on the oleo. I think I'm gonna Google things more often when I don't understand them, right? You find out some really interesting but weird information on Google. You do, don't you? Anyway, my email for this podcast, just so you can join the discussion, because I have no idea what else to say about that stuff that I found. But if you want to join the discussion and kind of bring light to what I looked up, you can email me at any time at everydaylivingrecipeswithlove@google.com. Now it's all together and all lowercase. So that's the email that I have for it. I will be adding this show to Spotify soon and like YouTube. I think I might do YouTube first if I figure out how to do it. I'm still kind of learning. But once I do that, I will be having a comment section. Now, I will be turning off the comments if it gets too, like, people are mean these days. Like, most of the things that you look up on YouTube now are like, comments are disabled and you can't comment on it. Now I kind of understand why, because people are cruel these days. So if it ends up being one of those where people are just cruel and they don't want to say any nice things at all, I will disable the comments. But my plan for right now, because you want to have hope in the people and hope that they're still nice in this world, right? This world is so strange right now. Has anybody ever listened to, now this is just the reference, Strange from Miranda Lambert? That new song that she had on her recently new record or CD. That's true about the world today. You should go listen to that. There is some truth in that about how our world is. But me, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. So I am going to try to put this on YouTube and I'm going to let you comment your thoughts. If it gets to a point where it gets too mean and people are mean to me or mean to each other, then it just won't be a comment section. You can email me. Because in the email, I can delete those things and they're not public. And so I'll just keep the email, you know? This world has no room for cruel people. It only has room for love and acceptance and just being nice to each other. Man, don't you just miss the generation where you were just always nice and you could like, I didn't even live in this time, but like when you could borrow some sugar from your neighbor or like ingredients. Nowadays, you can't even do that. You can't even trust people. It's just going crazy in the world. So that's the plan anyway. I think by the next episode, I probably will have this on YouTube with a comment section because I really do want to hear from people about what they think. Good or bad, I guess. But if it gets too mean and too nasty on there, I'll do what I have to do. But I love hearing from other people. And I love for you to join the discussion. And that's why I created an email address until I figure out the rest of this. But I think that it would be more fun to add it to YouTube first. Then it's going to be on Spotify. I will be announcing when it'll be on those two platforms on my page, Everyday Living Podcast Facebook page. Now, if you're not following that or liking that page, then you're going to miss out on the updates because for right now, my podcast is only available on Facebook page. You go through a different site and everything, but it's on the Facebook page. That's the only place you can find it until I release it and launch it on those two sites that I want to put it on. I have to figure it out. I'm still learning everything. So I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm good. My goal is to have it launched on YouTube, at least on YouTube, by next episode. So let's cross our fingers. Hopefully that'll happen. I really, really hope you enjoyed part 3. And I will see you guys next time. And thank you for joining me on my Google adventures today. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I love you all. See you next time.